This will be a shout out to all the people, my people, the clan of conscience, the people that are out there. It's a very small clan, the clan of conscience, people of conscience. I love you guys. And you know who you are. I love you guys. The people that are producing content on YouTube, but more importantly, are actually committing themselves through their actions to show the rest of the world around them that you can make a difference by the way you act based on conscience. And this is a shout out. I love you guys. I love you guys. You know who you are. And I'm learning from you people, like a person like Glenn Woodford. Shout out to Glenn and Vegematic, Chris, Lonnie Clark, Dana Durnford. And I want to just, at this point in time, talk about the enemies of heart and what I have called the culture of death, and what I associate with this concept of the culture of death, which is fundamentally a series of rituals like New Year, this ridiculous kind of calendar thing that everybody hooks into at this particular time, New Year. And I would recommend you check out Matt at the NASA channel. He calls himself the NASA channel. He's an artist, and the guy is an amazing painter. If you look at his paintings, he's a good painter. So, you know, some of his commentary is quite, there is a lot of vitriol and anger, and I think there's frustration like all of us feel. Check out Matt at the NASA channel. Anyway, the enemies of heart. And this is something a person like Matt doesn't get. He's still kind of in the headlights of all the usual suspects. And there are many usual suspects that we can find and attack that are out there. And I see myself as a presenter on YouTube. It's a secondary part of my life, a third or fourth even. It's not a primary part, because I have this fundamental notion that we need to translate or formulate this passion that we feel about something. It's not good enough just to report something and to itemize or to have opinions about things, but to actually translate that into actions based on heart and conscience, to do the right thing, what I've been saying. And I find that in this culture, especially at a time when people get very revved up in the Christian-dominated world, the Hebrew Christian-centric Western culture sort of world, where things culminate at a certain point in time and go down at a certain point in time, and the depression and the suicides at this time are very high. And why do we attach ourselves to these rituals of meaninglessness? Because the enemies of heart place into the middle of our activity this feeling of being attached to something that doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Whatever this over and over and over and over thing is, these rituals of memories that none of us really have. What is your and my memory of a situation that supposedly happened 2,000 years ago? Like I've always said, I don't even remember, and most people don't even remember their shopping list from last week. So how can we have some attachment to a fictitious story? And I'm not saying you can't get excited about something, but it needs to be translated into real life. And the whole story, the Christian story about generosity and the fundamental notion of love that this individual supposedly represented isn't translated into life. The culture that promotes this is the culture of death, caught up in the ritual, not in the action of actually making a difference based on the idea, but just caught in the ritual of it, and you can just walk away from it. And my comment about the idea of a time frame, personally for me, the world changed drastically 3/11/11 when Fukushima blew up. And I think all New Year events are irrelevant, because this is when time started in a way that has never happened before, because nothing has ever happened that was so epic in a tragedy, in a man-made event that is so monumental. It has never happened before. So everything started to change in my life from that point, and it has been escalating in terms of my own understanding. And I think it's important for people, the clan, I love you guys, the clan of people that create content that is actually connected, not just opinion and reporting, but action. And in my own personal life, I have had the fortune of having developed a way of expressing something that could actually be, well, for sure, I put it out as my action represented in my paintings or the art that I make is actually out there, and a lot of people have my paintings on their walls and have, I would imagine, get satisfaction and pleasure out of it, and on some level are affected. This is my notion of being effective through my paintings. It's one part of my life that I feel I'm effective in. And the enemies of heart is anything for me connected to repeating something. Like Einstein said, if you do the same thing over and over again expecting different results, you're insane, you're crazy, you're nuts. And we are engulfed in a culture that does the same thing in a ritualistic way over and over again, pretending that it means or matters when it doesn't really matter. In fact, it makes things worse. So the enemies of heart are what I am reflecting on right now, are all the activities, all the notions that are connected to mind, and mind as an intellect. And I'm not talking about mind as a kind of superstructure around us, because I think it's even surpassed by what I call the heart. The heart is a larger structure than mind, because mind is contained in what I consider to be heart. Now, mind is an interesting and important notion, because I am very motivated by intellect and thought, and even rational thought or irrational thought. I don't have any problems with people appearing to act irrationally, because a lot of art and history has appeared quite irrational. If you look at Vincent or even Goya, in some of his work, is quite irrational. It's why are you bothering to do that? It makes no sense at the time, but in fact it makes a lot of sense later. So I am not opposed, or I find great satisfaction in a way of thinking that is not conforming, against the norm. So my thoughts are that the rituals of the year-end rituals, the mid-year rituals, the quarter-year rituals, the hundreds of rituals that every culture adheres themselves to, which haven't worked. It hasn't worked. So we're a very small group, the clan of conscience, on this planet at this time with 7 billion people. There is a very small group of people that actually have understood through their actions, not just reporting and spouting information, which is very difficult to digest if you don't have the teeth. Let me give it, yeah, okay, that's a good metaphor. The idea that if I listen to people giving me information, their opinions even, and if I haven't resolved something within myself, what I call that inner battle, the inner battle, or that resolution, that inner resolution to determine my character, my nature, whatever comes towards me, whether it's good or bad or tragic or epic or minimal, I haven't got the teeth to chew it with, to make a decision in my own life if I haven't accomplished something on that inner level, that inner fight, that inner battle that makes me a better person, who is what I call the people of conscience, that part of us that actually activates itself without any irrevocation about who we are as people, that we're going to be determined to do the right thing. So all the information, whatever it is that we absorb, and we have plenty of this. YouTube is a great example of 99.9% spouting information, and there is no content from the point of view that the people that spout aren't actors in their own lives. There is a lot to be said to say something that relates to us as conscience, to make comments, but we need to translate that into action. A much more difficult thing to do. So I guess what I want to end off in this is that I really love the people that have this commitment to the inner battle, to fighting something out within themselves and not externalizing it always, and then coming to the world at a time when that has been resolved enough to make a difference, to do the right thing. And all the icons I've said, all the icons that are held up as being extraordinary individuals. And think about this. One of the most celebrated persons that is held up as a person of conscience, who has recently been nominated or actually declared a saint, the woman called Mother Teresa, the Albanian diminutive woman who went through the china shop and broke all the china she could by letting people die in India, pretending to be this fabulous person. And the news is all very clear. The scoop on her is out. She actually did not allow doctors to help very simple ailments that people had. Doctors were not allowed to come into her operation, and she preferred the people to die. What was that all about? And now she's a saint. So the icons we hold up of conscience are not that. And all the pop heroes, the Princes, the Bowies, the people that are held up as being important to us aren't important, because all they do is they don't give us the material that allows us to wage that inner war in a way that'll make a difference in our lives, so we can chew on the information that everybody is spouting. 99.9% out there on YouTube is spouting information which has no relevance other than to entertain you on some level. Because if that's all it becomes, because if you can't digest it and make it meaningful in some way, it just becomes irrelevant. So at this point, there are no more New Year's. It's over with, people. Ever since this plant at Fukushima blew up, all time frames, all timelines are eradicated until we fix it. And what is left to be fixed, however long this goes, how much longer every day it goes, the pollution that this plant is creating and all the others is going to get worse, and it's going to give us less of a time frame. So don't think about New Year's and all the other New Year's. It's not going to be that. It's going to be how soon from the point of 3/11/11 are we able to remedy this and turn the corner, if there's still a corner to be turned on this. So again, I love you guys, and you know who I'm talking about.